You know, 16 and Flakko. You know, 16 and Flakko got into it.
Who he spit on?
Flakko.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where you know Flakko from.
No, but I'll be watching like Flakko. Like I feel like because he's like an Akademiks. He like baby Akademiks. So
Literally came right out of X.
So I feel like he.
Sorry,
like,
Flakko.
If people hate Akademiks, they gonna hate anything like him. So I feel like the camera, the spotlight is on him because he act like Akademiks. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. You feel me? But it's more good though because people want to watch it just to see what the baby Akademiks gonna say.
Definitely
and he's funny.
Yeah,
and then his stutter makes him funnier.
You think like if Flakko gets ran down on, that it kind of is like a bad look for Ak because that's like his son?
No, I don't think nobody run down on Flakko though.
Well, I mean, he did get spit on.
That's
the first step.
But he said nah.
But if you watch that interview, he was pushing 16 to the limit.
He was pushing his buttons on purpose.
Bad.
Yeah, I feel like 16 played into his hands a little bit.
Maybe, but normally I would be so upset if somebody violated one of the hosts or spit on one of the hosts. But when I watched that interview, I was like,
Flacco's asking for it.
I could see it. Yeah, you can't really just call somebody a cloud chaser to their face over and over and over like that and just think it's gonna be cool, right?
Do you think getting slapped or getting spit on is the worst? Is the most disrespectful thing somebody can do to you?
I'd rather you slap me because then if you spit on me, it's over. Like I don't know.
Both are so bad.
Both are so bad, but the spit is just even worse to me. I don't know.
What if they spit on your booty, smack you, knock you out, then spit on your booty?
Like,
that happened to somebody. That be happening
to everybody
in jail.
apparently.
In jail.
That's the new wave.
That's the thing in jail.
They doing that in New York jail too, though?
Listen, man, that be happening.
It's at Rikers now.
It made its way there. Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Upstate. I wouldn't say New York like Rikers, but if somebody knock you out to violate you, they gonna spin you.
Ever been a better time for a no homo than when you just spit on someone after you knocked them out?
I don't know how.
So you really getting violated in 3 different ways because you got knocked out, somebody spin you, and they gonna talk about it. So you
That's
just
why
got,
they doing
the
it.
trifecta. You got violated 3 times. You got to live with that.
Take me to Nebraska. I don't want to be in the New York prison.
No, they probably you in Nebraska, like actually penetrating.
I'd almost rather get than just have somebody spit on my booty.
We got to interview the guy who started the Savage Life. Remember, Tay said he knows the person who invented it.
Adam, you a kinky dude, man. You said you were ready to get this. You a kinky dude, man.
Just kidding. I take it back. Because in reality, the spit would be way better. It's way less intrusive. But it's just as disrespectful, I guess. Anyway, we're supposed to call you P2 for the introduction?
Supreme Junior P2.
Right.
Whichever one roll off your tongue easier, pause.
Definitely. And you Supreme the out today.
Gotta rep my Gotta rep.
Gotta.
You never seen nobody with no goggles and no glasses on at the same time.
That is actually crazy, though, that Supreme came up in a pre-Supreme era.
Too. The Supreme Forces.
Before there was...
Supreme Socks.
Before there was Supreme, the clothing line, there was Supreme,
my dad.
the street legend.
That's it.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's it. I mean, there's a couple other dudes named Supreme, but I feel like he was the influence, though. You feel me? Because there's nobody bigger than him with that name. I'm starting off saying nobody bigger than him. They've been killing me talking about nobody bigger than him, but
in a specific world.
Yeah, with the name though, Supreme, like it's like a God body name. Like Supreme means the Most High.
Oh, that's the origin of it?
Yeah, that's the origin. Yeah. So he was, his teacher named him Supreme.
The dude who like taught him about Islam and shit?
The God body, the 5% Nation.
Right.
And then like a whole bunch of other people just started taking on that name. From Brooklyn, from the Bronx, like it been a whole bunch of other Supremes, but he's the biggest one.
Right.
Pause.
So your mom and Supreme were together? Were they ever like together for a long period of time?
They was together since '84.
Okay. How many kids did he actually have?
Okay. Well, I just found out recently. Well, none been confirmed besides me, but him being who he was, him
doing his thing,
probably got 10 kids, probably got 20 kids. Who knows?
Right.
But none confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your life was like, how much was he in your life?
I mean, he went to jail when I was 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah. Wasn't really nothing.
Right.
But I mean, yeah. But I feel like that's like normal when your dad or your mom is in the streets though. Like,
right.
Jail is inevitable unless you're gonna tell. But he would never do no like that, so he's gonna be gone.
So your mom was like a part of the street life too?
No, my mother. I'm saying if your mom was a part of the street culture or in that realm. Jail, death, or like ratting is inevitable. You feel me? Like that's what's gonna happen. That's what you're gonna get with that, unless you make $2 million and get out, but who really have that mind frame that if I made $2 million this quick, I'm gonna keep going.
Right.
You feel me? So a lot of people don't think like that, longevity.
But so at what point do you start realizing that your dad has this reputation?
Probably like 11 or 12. Like I'm going to the barbershop in my neighborhood, and like I'm going in the barbershops, and like the guys in the barbershop like, yo, that's Bream, son. Yo, come here, yo. They giving me mad wads of cash and like buying me sneakers, taking me this, going here, doing this, giving me the keys to their car. Like, and I'm like, yo, ma, who the f is this guy that everybody's saying is my dad? Cause you know, me and her never really talked about it. So she finally sat me down and she told me like, and after she told me that, I was like, oh, I can use this guy to get what I want. Oh, let's do that.
Right. So were you still growing up in New York or in Queens at that time?
Yeah, in Queens, like literally in Queens.
Yeah.
Literally in like right in the middle of everything where he was moving around, like I'm right there.
All right, because he was from Baisley Projects.
Yeah.
All right, so where is that?
He lived in the houses across from the projects, but that's in South Jamaica, Queens though.
All right, and you grew up in South Jamaica,
I grew up
Queens?
4 blocks away from the projects. I was in a house, but I grew up like 4 blocks away from the projects though.
Was your mom ever concerned that his enemies might do something to her or you?
Absolutely.
Really? So you kind of grew up knowing
I
about
never
that?
went to school in Queens.
Really?
I went to school in Manhattan, private school my whole life.
Wow.
I'm my mom's only kid, so she was like very very overprotective. Like I'm like her only thing that she has, you know?
How long you got to sit on the bus to go from Southside?
I had a driver.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had a driver.
That's far as right?
It's like an hour.
Okay.
Like an hour, maybe 45 minutes on the train.
Right.
But
it's
yeah,
like different planets.
Yeah.
Like
Manhattan and Queens is polar opposites.
A lot of people who grow up in Southside Jamaica, Queens will probably never go to Manhattan. Or they'll
That's a
go like
fact.
once a year.
Let me tell you a funny story about that.
Yeah.
So like me in high school, like I was dealing with like a lot of the Catholic school girls. And like I would bring them to like my neighborhood, and the guys would look at them like, you just brought white girls and Spanish girls to the neighborhood, like you're a king. Cause they wasn't used to that. They were used to the regular average girls in the neighborhood, stuff like that. When I started bringing the people I was around from the city to Queens and then bringing my friends with me to the city, it was like a shell shock to them. So I feel like I'm like the gatekeeper in a way.
You was bridging the gap. So you said you had a driver taking you to and from school?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing when your dad got locked up, you still had some money flowing around.
No, but it wasn't from him though. It was my mother.
What was she up to?
She had a real illegal job. She works like she's like under, it's the commissioner, and then it's her position, her title. I forgot the name of her title, but like my mom even when she was dealing with my father, she was always working like.
So was it a thing where like you were super well known and like everybody knew about your dad in Southside Jamaica, Queens, but then you go to Manhattan, it's like not an issue at all. Like,
but you know what's so crazy?
It?
It kind of spilled over into high school.
Really?
Because
then the kids start getting smarter.
The rap music, you know,
the
rap music. He's saying people saying his names, and then it might be 2 kids in the school from Queens, and then they might know who I am, and then they pass it to somebody that passes to somebody, and this is paying telephone. Before you know it, the whole school know who I am. So it kind of like I feel like when you run away from stuff, it's still gonna find you. Like you can run however far, but it's gonna find you. You feel me? Me being who I am, it found me. Like my mother couldn't shelter me from it. She couldn't hide it.
What's your read on why your mom might have ended up in a relationship with somebody who's basically like a drug kingpin? Because like at a certain point you got to kind of look at your mom and be like, damn, like that says something about you that you chose to be in a relationship with somebody who is living such a high risk life.
Not really, because maybe he turned it off when he was with her.
Right.
Maybe he wasn't that person when he was with her. You know,
maybe he was all the way in before he even let her know, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Yeah.
And also you got to remember too, like in the 80s, like either you were selling drugs or doing them.
True. It was a lot more normalized at the time.
Especially in New York. So I mean, like, oh, I'm dating a drug dealer. Like that was the norm, like you just said. Like, you know, like I don't think that's outlandish or far-fetched for a woman to be dating a drug dealer in the 80s or the 90s. It's regular shit.
So what was your relationship like with any of the other guys that were a part of the Supreme Team? Because when your dad got booked up, I'm pretty sure some of his homies were still around trying to be in your life.
Some of them are like uncles to me. Like those are some of the guys that was in the barbershop taking me places, giving me money, you know, showing me different things, trying to school me, stuff like that. So I definitely have like a good relationship with like maybe a good 5 or 6 of them. That had just did a crazy bid, that had did 10 or 15 years or 18 years or 20 years. So like, I feel like somebody coming from that life, did their time, was solid, and then they came home and then started like a legal business or doing something productive. That's the person that I want to learn from. I don't want to learn from somebody that did 20 years, came home and still trying to be in the game. Like, you just wasted 20 years of your life. Why do you feel like you still want to do this?
And come back to doing what
That doesn't
you
make.
doing.
I'm a logical person. I'm probably the most logical person you'll ever meet. So if it don't make sense to me, I don't want to be around it.
So after getting, so you say your dad got locked up when you were 4 years old. What was the circumstances for money at that time? Like, did you have to, your mom?
Nah, I never wanted for
she
nothing.
was making paper,
I was
right?
in private school, bro, driving to school in Range Rovers my whole life. My mother never let me want for nothing. Never. All on her dime. Nothing to do with him. All on her. Like, my mother's a beast. She's a go-getter, bro. I feel like that's why a lot of people say I remind them of him until they meet my mom and they be like, yo, nah, you your mom's twin. You act like her, your work ethic, everything. But before they meet her, they say, yo, you your dad's twin. And then they meet her, they be like, okay, never mind.
Right. And so what was your perspective on the streets? Because obviously you're growing up in an area, like you might be going to private school and stuff, but you're also meeting people. You're kind of in this area. You're probably like hearing all this shit. Is it something where you thought the streets were this cool ass thing that you wanted to get involved with, or were you looking at some
Hell
other
yeah,
shit?
I thought it was cool to get involved in because I was a nerd. Like, I was playing baseball. I'm in Catholic school. You know, you always want to know what's the unknown.
Right.
Like, you always want to go explore the unknown. So I'm like, people telling me, yo, your pops is this, your pops is ill, yo, you got to be like him, you got to move. I'm like, you can't tell a 13, 14-year-old kid that shit because that shit going to get in his mental and he going to really want to pursue that. So I'm like, damn, let me go. I never sold drugs and none of that stuff, but I was around the street stuff. I'm in, like, I was like interested in it. I wanted to, but people was like, get the fuck out. Go play baseball, chill out. But I still was searching for something though, because I wanted to live up to that name.
Right.
Like, I wanted to be like, yo, I see the admiration that he got. So I'm like, yo, I want that too. Like, I love that. He's like an NBA player. He's like a rapper.
Yeah.
So I wanted that.
No, definitely. That must have been kind of weird. But like, do you recall like a certain point where you started to realize like, all right, maybe I don't want to actually be going in this direction, because you start, because obviously like your dad's doing this long ass prison bid, but when you're a young ass teenager, you're looking at that and you're thinking like, yeah, that is fucked up, but that's not, like, as a kid, it's so hard to see the repercussions of the shit that you might get into. So even something like your dad doing 20 years in prison,
Life. He got life.
life, right?
Yeah.
That might not be enough to make you realize like, oh, I don't want to take this risk.
Well, I feel like the older you get, the more mature you get. So you feel me? Even if I was doing it, you know, if you fall and bump your head a couple times, you're gonna say, damn, I don't want to fall no more. That shit hurt. So I mean, I didn't really have to go through nothing extreme to make me realize like, yo, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. Like, I seen little right. I'm a person that take heed to the writing on the wall. Like, if I see the signs on the wall, I ain't gonna say, man, I'm gonna pay attention. Like, yo, well, I keep seeing these signs on the wall. Maybe this isn't the right direction I need to be going. So I found out quick, like, street life ain't it.
Yeah.
It's not it.
What was your relationship like with your dad after he got arrested? Were you keeping up with him, going to visit him?
We were more so writing letters. Like, I would talk to him on the phone, but the letters was like real heavy. Like, so yeah. And he always was trying to be like, teach me militants. Like, be militant, watch who you're around, watch your surroundings, don't do this, make sure you circle the block. Like, he was like a real militant person, bro. Like, it wasn't, I tell everybody, it wasn't like the typical father and son relationship. Like, he was like on some man-to-man shit. Like, he was trying to instill in me values that he knew at his age when I was a kid. So, like, I grew up a little bit different, a little bit more structured. Teenagers aren't structured, you feel me? And boys, they develop slower than a female. But I feel like I was more advanced and more structured because I had him and other male figures that was schooling me on what to do and what not to do.
That was gonna be another question I had for you. So, like, did your mom like have another boyfriend after your dad got locked up? Did you have like another role model in your life, or?
Nah, I never seen another guy.
Really?
And I joke with my mom, like, still to this day, like, yo, if he came home, you probably would like, she was like, boy, get out of here. But I know that though, because like my mom, because why you didn't have another boyfriend?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
she just gave up on.
I wouldn't say gave up. Maybe she just hid it from me really well.
Yeah.
I can't speak on her personal life because it was her personal life. I wasn't, you feel me? But she never let me see that.
But even now, if she was like dating, you would probably kind of figure it out at a certain point, right?
Yeah,
Like, at some point, it's going to get serious enough with a guy that you end up having.
Yeah,
to meet
but
him,
I ain't on no baby boy shit though. Like, you see how baby boy was with his mother? Like, he was like, I'm not. If you make my mother happy, like, I don't. You feel me? Like,
Right.
You don't have no relationship with me. I'm a grown ass man. I don't want no relationship with another man.
Right.
But make my mother happy. Do your job, and then we good, bro. You got my blessings. But I mean, I'm not a person that give you multiple chances. One chance, one thing you do wrong.
But that, like what you're describing, I feel like is so uncommon now. But for the older generation, like I have known a lot of people throughout my life who the mom maybe gets divorced when she's 30, 35 and just never really gets into another relationship after that. Like they just kind of look at it as like they never wanted to get divorced in the first place, but remarrying or dating, like I don't know, it's just like there's different like cultural stigmas around.
I don't really. My mom is a loner. Like she's comfortable in her own skin being by herself. Like she has a lot of friends. She's an introvert and an extrovert at the same time. Like she has a lot of friends. She's the life of the party. She go out, she chill, but she thoroughly enjoys being by herself.
Right.
Like she doesn't mind being by herself. So I don't. She probably didn't feel like she needed another person. And going through something like that with him, she probably was traumatized. Like I ain't doing this shit no more. Like word.
And it's like if you've kind of been to the top of the animal kingdom,
Exactly.
it's got to be kind of weird to go down.
That's
after,
like with Kim Kardashian. Like how you go from Kanye to Pete Davidson. Like
Right.
how you drop off that much.
But at least Pete Davidson is a millionaire. He's super famous, and yeah, I mean, like those things. Like
it's that comparison to Ye. You can't leave Ye though. That Ye is like Ye.
yeah, but Ye is also out of his fucking mind
Pete,
at
so
this
is Pete.
point.
Pete is too though.
Yeah, you might be right, but but in general, like her dating a Foot Locker manager would have blown my fucking mind. Her dating like a guy who's on SNL every week, it's like okay, yeah, I'm not.
But
that
maybe,
surprised.
but then again, you gotta look at it from like, okay, maybe me being at the top of the totem pole didn't work, so let me go to the bottom and see if that might work for me.
Right.
Females think weird, bro. Like you can never pinpoint something with a female because their brain just is like crazy.
Right.
All right, so when we talk Supreme Team, everybody, we have to mention this guy, 50 Cent. 50 is...
Go ahead, finish.
50 names comes up every time we talk about Supreme because they had like this...
Yeah.
They were their like, you know what I'm saying, arch nemesis, rivals or whatever. All right, so how old are you now?
28.
So what age were you when you first started hearing about 50 Cent?
You were born in 95?
Yeah.
50 blows up in
03.
2022. Or 2002, sorry. Yeah, 03, that time period.
8 years old. And I was a fan. Like,
That's
how
what-
can you not be... Like, I'm not a liar. I'm not going to get on nobody's camera or nobody's screen and lie. Like, he was the biggest... I'm from Queens. I'm from New York. He's the biggest thing moving. Like, I was a fan. Like, I had... But remember I told y'all I found out about who my dad was when I was like 12, 11, 12, 13?
So
one of those ages.
you were a 50 fan for a while before you
That's
even
what
figured
that's what I was about to say. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I had posters of this guy. Like, I knew every word to every song. Like, my mother used to buy me the G-Unit sneakers. I was wearing the do-rags. Like, that was like, he was the person. I was a fan.
You didn't have the wife beaters with the striped
I had
colored
all that.
sleeves.
I had all that.
No.
The G-Unit tank tops.
The
The
tank
G-Unit
tops.
tank top. I had all
I
that.
had the shoes. I never had the tank top.
Like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm telling you, like, I had his poster, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and then, like, could you imagine, like, me going through that shell shock? Like, me finding out my dad is, like, his arch... I'm like, yo.
So how did you find out? Like, what's the day like? I was like, all right, I can't
mean-
fuck with 50 no more because of...
You said, how did I find out? What made me feel that way?
What made you feel like you can't be a fan, or how did you even find out?
Yeah, how did you find out?
How did I find out about their situation? I'm like...
Through the music, right?
Do the people in the neighborhood. Like, people telling me. People put me on. Like...
Because if you keep listening to 50 Cent, you go back to his older stuff, you're going to start like actually hearing tales and like hearing your dad's name
That's
and
a fact.
shit. Yeah.
That's a fact. I wouldn't even necessarily say I'm not a fan anymore. Like, I mean, his music ain't good now, but like like a couple years ago, like maybe 2016, 2000, I don't have a problem with listening. I know how to separate the person from the art form.
Right.
His music, he went diamond twice. Like, he doesn't make bad music. You feel me? But that I'm a fan of his music. I don't have to be a fan of him. I'm not saying I hate him either, because a lot of people always be like, yo, you hate 50, that's your op. I can't. I'm 28. He's 40-something years old. How can that be my op? That's not my op. Him and my dad is him and my dad. That's not my op.
What do you understand from Supreme and 50 Cent's initial beef and how it initially even started? What do you hear?
Well, I just feel like, from my knowledge and what I know, I feel like 50 was just mad that my dad didn't want to take on him as an artist. Like, why are you dealing with Murder Inc. and Ja Rule and them, and you could be, I'm from your neighborhood. Like, sign me, get me signed, mess with me. And my dad was with them. My dad's loyal, so he's gonna be with the people. He's gonna stay with the people he always been with. So I guess 50 was like, you know what? I'm gonna show you that I'm better than them, and I'm gonna murder them too while I'm doing it. I want to prove to you like you should have been dealing with me the whole time. So it was kind of like he idolized or he looked up to my dad, and he didn't really like that my dad didn't want to like embrace him. Like, come, let me stamp you. Like he stamped Ja Rule and he stamped Murder Inc. I think 50 wanted that too.
It's crazy because that story is almost exactly the same as Gucci and BMF, where Gucci, like, BMF wouldn't fuck with him because he's a robber and he was, like, too crazy or whatever. So then Gucci basically says, like, all right, fuck y'all, and does his own thing. And then they tried to kill him, which is also something I wanted to bring up, is that allegedly at one point your dad dropped that bag on 52, which must have been kind of weird for you as a kid to even figure out, like, oh, my dad is, like, allegedly capable of such things.
But that's why you use the word allegedly.
Right.
So it's not
we can never really prove
yeah.
it, but
I mean, I feel like I don't really base anything that I do of gossip or like chirps about something. Like where does it say that he was the one that did it? I don't even think that's like a thing. I think people just came up with that own conclusion on their own.
I mean, if you watch 50 Cent movie, it just seems like your dad was majestic.
That's all subjective though. You feel me? That's all subjective. Like it's not proven.
But do you really think your dad wouldn't be capable of putting money on somebody's head? Because to me, it seems pretty obvious that was the kind of thing that he probably did do at times.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so.
I feel like if you're that deep in the drug game at a certain point, like if I was going to become a guy who's buying and distributing kilos of cocaine, at a certain point, if somebody robs you, you got to be ready to kill him. Or pay somebody else to kill him.
But I feel like it's some people that was in that life that's more diplomatic than others. Right. So I feel like if you know how to carry yourself and you know how to talk to people and people just respect you off, you know, how you carry yourself, you might not need to push the button on them.
But I feel like nothing gets respect like violence. Like if you're going to be in that world where violence is how things are resolved, at a certain point, you don't become King Von unless you make it clear that you're down to do some fucking drills.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But so if you was in the streets, you think you would drop a bag on somebody?
For sure.
I think most street people probably do shit like that, right?
Or they do it themselves. They only don't do it themselves when they get too famous to do it.
I don't think I would agree with that.
But the more we learn about rappers, whether it's Boosie or Youngboy or whoever, at a certain point, you start realizing, like, oh, once dudes get big enough, if they're really in the street shit, they start dropping bags on people.
Let me ask you this. What about if you know how they say your reputation precedes you?
Yeah.
So what if people think that you do that and then they'll like start that domino effect and now people are even scared to even test you because they think that you would do that?
Then all the better. If I'm a gangster
you get what I'm saying?
And people are saying that I dropped the bag on somebody, I'm going to let them say it no matter what, even if it's not true, because that shit is just going to make you more feared and respected, right?
And that might have been his case. People might have just respect. First of all, he did his time because this is not his first bid that he did. He been, you know, he did bids before. So if they like, okay, this guy, he did his time. He never told on nobody. And he's like maybe have the capabilities of doing that. Let's not even fuck with this guy.
Right.
I think 50 was probably like the only person that even attempted to like go against or like speak out or like say any ill things towards him.
Right.
I never heard that because people loved him and they respected him. Like he was doing basketball tournaments in the neighborhood. He was giving families money. He was a generous person. So I feel like that's when Nori be like, is it better to be loved or respected or something like that? Like, I feel like it's better to be respected.
And people forget, though, but the main thing that people would hate on 54 when he first came out was because of songs like Ghetto Quran that basically took all this old-ass street shit and put it into the music and told stories about your pops and whoever else, and people would call him a snitch for that, and 50's response was always, there are books out there that have all this information in it, so you can't say that I'm a snitch when all this shit is publicly available, which is another conversation we still see playing out all the time, where somebody like J Mane will come on here and say, I saw Tay Savage shoot at so-and-so, and then people call him a snitch, and then he says, well, look at this YouTube video and this YouTube video that have 300,000 views that have the same exact shit that I just talked about.
But just because it's already out there don't mean you got to say it either.
True.
If it's already out there, why do you have to say it? People already know. So I feel like if you add fuel to the fire, you just as guilty.
Right.
You get so and that's the fine line between snitching, dry snitching, and just shutting the fuck up.
So you do feel like Ghetto Quran was dry snitching?
I didn't say that.
No, I'm asking.
Me personally, no. But the people who's in the song, they don't want to be talked about. They not entertainers. They street people. So you saying their names in songs, like, what if they still active? Or what if they trying to change their life? What if they in church now? What if they, like... But when he was doing it like as like paying homage, I feel like. But if somebody told you they don't want their name in the song, and you know they don't want their name in the song, just respect it. Don't put their name in the song. But I feel like he just was like, yo, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and still did it.
And the difference between him and like an author is that very few gang members are gonna go shoot a guy who wrote a book about their crew or whatever. Yeah. But if you're a participant, if you were a guy who was around when we were coming up and now you're a famous rapper or whatever, being a rapper, you're still basically like in the streets because you're surrounded by the street shit no matter what. So you can understand why him putting in the song to them is way different than a book because realistically, like less than 1% of the people who listen to that song are ever going to read that book.
I don't feel like he did nothing wrong with the song though. It's a dope song and he's just paying homage to his neighborhood, to his borough. So me personally, my thought process, I don't think that the song was wrong, and I like the song. Like I used to listen to the song in the car. Like you feel me? Like
I want to listen to it right now. That's a classic.
What's your relationship with Irv Gotti? Because from everybody who kept up with the Supreme story, Irv, well, what we think is Irv's money came from Supreme, or why did Supreme?
I don't know.
It wasn't none of that.
I'm gonna answer. That's a 2-part question. So I love Irv. That's home team. That's family. Irv is amazing. Like he's a musical genius. He's into films now. Like that's my guy. I'm riding with him against anybody from me because why wouldn't I? That's family. And you see, I got loyalty on my arm. Like that really mean I'm loyal to who I'm loyal to. And to address the other thing you said about the whole money thing, Irv was DJing. He was in music. He been interning. He been with Leo Cohen. He been with all of them, like with Rough Riders and doing the thing with DMX and like. How can Preem be giving him like that's what I'm saying. People, you will see something in the media and people will just blow that out of proportion and then create a whole different narrative and just make it fit their criteria, what they want to promote, like their agenda. It's impossible for Preem to have given Irv any money. That's like, are you serious?
But the feds obviously thought that too, though, because that's
they just wanted to try to tie them together in a negative way so they can get a conviction. So even if it's a lie, they still gonna promote that lie just so they can get a conviction. Because they felt like maybe if we attach y'all to him, maybe y'all turn on him and just cooperate with us so we can get him. And Irv and his brother Chris, they didn't do that. They that's why I said I can never say nothing bad about neither one of them because the government, the feds offered them 8 months and they was facing 25, 30 years. And they said, yo, if you say that he did this, we'll give y'all 8 months. And they was like, nah, we're not doing that. So I can never say nothing bad about neither one of them. They solid. And you're not gonna really find people in the music business that would have did that.
Were you rooting for Ja Rule hard when him and 50 were really going at it? Were you
but I was a fan of 50.
Were you hollering murder off the school bus?
I mean,
or from the driver's
But now
car.
I feel like Ja people like shit on Ja a lot. Up until like 2 or 3 years ago, they were
got
shitting
an
on
unfair deal in that whole thing for sure.
But I feel like I had to root for Ja. Ja go up against anybody. I got to root for Ja. That's home team. I would look crazy if I didn't root for the home team. Who am I? I'm not true to myself if I go against the home foundation. So when they was going at it, I just felt like if he didn't address 50, maybe it would have turned out differently for him. But I feel like everything happened for a reason, and now I feel like Ja's being celebrated more, like of the last maybe 2 or 3 years. Like he did the verses with Fat Joe. You know, Ja's still doing tours. He's doing shows. He has a wine company now. He's back in film. Like he does a whole bunch of different stuff. So I don't really feel like it just sounds cool and funny to say, yo, 50 murdered that nigga. Like it just sounds cool to say that, but he really didn't though. Because even though that whole trial was going on with Murder Inc., then the label thing was going on. So like, people never talk about that part. They only talk about, yo, 50 murdered that nigga.
And this is the thing, is that I was one of those kids at the time because I was a 50 Cent super fan, G-Unit super fan. But there needs to be a little bit of historical revisionism because the truth
Revisionism?
Well, we got to revise some shit because that narrative took the world by storm. Of like a big part of 50 blowing up as a rapper was not only the huge records and everything, but also people loved the idea of you taking out a fellow rapper and destroying their career or whatever.
That's what the rap game about.
But the truth is that around the time that 50 came out, people were kind of getting sick of Ja. Like his star was already started because he had become so huge on like a mainstream radio level that people were kind of losing interest. And then the Fed case and like all this other kind of shit was like going on around the same time. And 50 was gonna blow up either way. So he kind of like used that moment to be like, look at this rapper that I destroyed. But the truth is that was kind of happening anyway.
What you mean 50 would have blew up either way?
I don't think 50 needed to pick a fight with Ja Rule to blow up when you have records like In the Club and all this other shit coming out at that time.
But that came out after. He was like, as soon as he came in the game, he was taking shots at people.
True.
Yeah, so I feel like
the aura of beef in general,
I feel like he needed Murder Inc. to become who he became in a way. He needed my dad.
Maybe. I feel like to a certain extent though, the music would have done it anyway, and the Dr. Dre cosign and the Eminem shit and everything. You
can't never dispute the Dr. Dre cosign.
Yeah, but definitely it made him appear to be like a more solid gangster ass dude. The fact that he got shot and survived, and I heard you in one interview saying that you think that he exaggerated how many times he got shot, which I don't know if that's true, but I definitely believe it's a possibility because he used it for marketing.
Everything is about marketing.
Yeah.
And nobody never gonna see him in person and ask him, yo, let me see your bullet holes. So I mean, he could have got shot one time and said, you feel me? People do that. Not necessarily just putting all the buck on him. I'm talking about rappers in general. If they got shot 3 times to make themselves sell more records, they're gonna say, yo, I got shot 7 times. People have done that. Historically, people do that all the time. So I mean, who are we to confirm or deny what happened?
But if you really want to think about how fucked up rap is, think about the fact that it used to be that if a rapper got shot, that was enough for their whole next album, etc. Like that made you gangster.
That was the rollout.
Now, if you get shot, nobody even really cares, and you basically have to be like a killer or an ex-killer in order to get like that kind of interest.
Or
from
go
people.
to jail and beat your case and come home.
Right.
Yeah, something like But it's crazy that you gotta go to jail or shoot somebody or kill people to be like sell records. People don't care about the music anymore. It's not just about the art. It's about what comes with it.
I mean, Lil TJ got shot a whole shitload of times, and it's not like he turned into 50 Cent where everybody was like, oh my God, he's so gangster or whatever. But then,
I feel like getting shot now is more normalized than it was back then.
Totally, yeah.
You feel me?
Which is wild.
Which is crazy because Biggie and Tupac happened. They actually died from that. So you would think that it was worse back then, but I think that is normal now. Like, oh, he got shot. Okay, did he die? Okay, all right, whatever. That's nothing.
Right, people move on.
Yeah,
real quick,
move on in 3 days.
Yeah, it's crazy how things change, right? So, all right. So, what was your thoughts on recently? I know you had to see the paperwork that zipped it with the drip drop. With apparently they're saying that Bimmy might have been an informant.
He did a Math Hoffa interview denying it, which I still have to watch.
You didn't watch it yet?
I didn't see it yet.
Have you seen any of his rebuttals, Bimmy's rebuttals
No, not
on the
really.
internet?
Are they convincing?
No, I mean,
Really?
no. I mean, like at the end of the day, I feel like you don't have to address everything that people say about you. You get what I'm saying? And then they say, oh, if you don't, a rumor that's not denied becomes the truth or something like that. But that's not true. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like Zip did what he needed to do, and I thought it was hilarious, actually.
So you thought Bimmy shouldn't have addressed it? He should just be stay
Why?
quiet?
Why? If somebody called me gay, am I gonna go on 17 different platforms and say I'm not gay? And
Did he do that many interviews? I think he only did like.
Bro, he's
1 or
been on
2.
YouTube since that happened. I never seen him that much on YouTube ever. But now that this happened, like, and then you say you don't play the internet game, but you on the internet. I don't understand that. You get what I'm saying?
So Bimmy, someone you don't have a relationship with, that was a part of the Supreme.
No, I knew him. I definitely knew him, and you know, he gave me a pair of Gucci shoes one time when I was a little kid, but that's probably as far as it'll go. I mean, the way he painted the story was like he took care of me, he paid for my school tuition and all that stuff, but you gave me a pair of Gucci shoes, like, thanks.
Right. At least it's something, because you hear about people all the time who basically their dad gets locked up, and then they never even hear, like Mama Duck, the way that she talks about some of Duck's old affiliates who never came around or never did anything for her after.
But a lot of people that you would And first of all, my dad also told me when I was from young, like, yo, nobody's obligated to do shit for you.
True, yeah.
Like, don't go up to people expecting anything because off the strength of me. Like, he wouldn't even allow me to do that. You get what I'm saying? So I always kind of had in my mind, like, I used to be mad though, like, why the fuck I'm not, you get what I'm saying? Like, cause he's this person, everybody talks about him and glorifies him. Why nobody's like giving me a job or like, that used to play on my mental. I used to get mad about that. But now I feel like it's more gratifying for me to work for what I want. Right. And then they see me working and then they come instead of them just being like, yo, oh, that's Preem son, let me give him $1 million. Even though that would be cool, I'm not saying don't do that to anybody that wants to do that. But like I can work for it. You feel me? Like I don't have an issue working. That's what I say. I get that from my mom. The work ethic is from her. Like I don't mind going to Cali to do no jumper, then going to fucking Atlanta to do another interview, and then coming back to New York to do. I don't mind doing that. I like the work. I like the journey.
It's a weird position for you to be in because it's like on one hand, you don't want to make your whole existence predicated on your dad, which you really didn't have anything to do with, like all the stuff that he did before you were born and shit. But then at the same time, you do want to like use anything you got. It's like if you're a hot girl, you're gonna use the fact that you're hot
and you got big ass titties and a big ass. You're gonna use. I feel like whatever cards you was dealt in your life, you're supposed to use them. Right. You can't get your hand and say, no, I don't want this. I'm gonna turn it in. Right. No, I got dealt these cards. I'm gonna use them. Like, that's not me being an opportunist. That's not me. No, I didn't tell God, yo, I want to be Preem son. That it happened that way, so I'm gonna use it to my advantage. And if people don't agree with that, I mean, I don't give a fuck if you don't agree with it.
So it's more not like you don't feel obligated to keep the name alive. It's more just like just working your move.
You know, he hates that shit though.
Really?
Like, he's like, yo, bro, like, you don't need to keep my name alive. Like, make your name. You get what I'm saying? But I'm trying to explain to him, like, yo, you don't understand the internet. Like, me being on the internet could actually help you. You get what I'm saying? But he's like from that era where there was no internet, there was no pictures, they didn't floss anything. Like, he's from that era, but he just doesn't get this era. So, you know, a son trying to explain something to their father, it's kind of hard
when he's been
and like me,
away.
Yeah, like he's like, I'm not trying to hear nothing you saying. Get off that internet. Stop trolling. Stop arguing with people on the internet. Stop. But I'm like, yo, like, you don't understand. Like, this is how we can make money now.
What kind of life does he want for you? Like,
he told me one time, like, he had got mad at me one time. And he's like, yo, go work at the fucking post office. Or go be a garbage man. Like, why you want to be on the internet? But I can't even be mad at him because he doesn't understand the internet. Like, I can make $1 million on the internet and help you come home.
He could have been a garbage man too.
If I told
him to do something very different with his life,
but if I told him that though, you get what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I probably would never hear from him again.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got to be kind of weird because, like, I've interviewed Chet Hanks before, and it's just obviously kind of odd for him to be in this position of having a dad who's so fucking famous, and then he has to just like kind of figure out who he's going to be and what his life is going to be like and everything, and he's just you know it's just like kind of a weird.
It's a catch-22.
But that's his dad is like one of the most beloved actors of all time, and for you, it's from a different thing because it's not like you just have this like wholesome dad. Your dad has a reputation for being, you know, ruthless and like, you know, enterprising in the streets. So people are going to kind of expect you to be like tough to a certain degree or whatever. Was that ever weird growing up and having people just expect that you need to be on some superhero shit?
Absolutely. It was like I said, when you were a teenager, like you can't really. What I learned early is that you can't please everybody. So the people that was telling me, yo, you got to do it like your dad wouldn't be, you nothing like him, yo, you got to do this. I feel like they was trying to send me off a cliff.
Right, because your dad probably realistically never would have been able to become as big in the streets as he did in this day and age because with technology and surveillance and all this shit, it's just not that many drug kingpins these days, realistically. You get caught. You're not allowed to be a famous drug dealer these days,
that's
pretty
a
much.
Fact. Yeah, that's a fact. But a lot of people don't know my dad had like barbershops, laundry mats, cab stands. Like I feel like he was a businessman before anything. And I also feel like in that time, like I said before, like it's either you were taking them or selling them. So which one would you have rather been doing? Right. Well, you probably would have wanted to take them too, though.
I took a lot of drugs in my life, so yeah.
But you was either taking them or selling them, or a family member was on them. So I feel like when the environment that you grow up in, you a product of your environment. So I mean, what are you supposed to do?
And it's also weird where during the 80s, maybe certain crimes would only get you a couple years or get you less than 5 years type shit. And then all of a sudden it's 2022. And if they catch you with fucking bricks of cocaine in your trunk,
You're going to get life.
yeah, you're getting thrown in jail for a long ass time.
Unless you tell.
And now everybody knows what drugs do to you. Whereas in the 80s and shit, it was just not as clear. And like, yeah, you would see some of it, but you would see crackheads and shit. But then you would also see like all these super successful people are cokeheads and they're in
That's a fact.
nightclubs doing this shit. And it was just like a more normal part of our culture. Whereas, yeah, people still do coke and shit, but they understand that they're doing something that is like really kind of seedy and on the edge of, you know, being viewed as terrible by the culture or whatever.
Yeah. Do you think he was ruthless?
I mean, from what you hear.
What you know and what you read.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know 100%. But
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, with your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sound like he All right. So there's
But that's
another
what I'm-
rumor
Go ahead.
that
you can't be a pussy and end up in that position.
and have that rank.
You can't be a pussy kingpin?
I don't think so, because at some point, somebody, if you have millions of dollars that you're making on the street and you're a bitch, somebody is going to come and take that shit from you.
But what if you have people that protect you, though?
Then you're not a bitch, because you got motherfuckers protecting you. I might be a bitch.
but what
I
if they-
can't fight, but I got security out there that'll shoot somebody for me, and I got a lot of people that might do something for me. So it's like, I don't need to be a fucking prize fighter, right?
Yeah, but what if they just do it because they love you?
What if
I'm still paying
being
the
a
bills.
good-
It's still part of my organization.
He pays them.
At one point, a human being becomes bigger than just himself if you're
Yeah.
able to build up an organization around you or whatever.
And
you know?
that's what happened with him.
Yeah.
He just became big because he was able to. You feel me? But I don't feel like that's necessarily mean that he was ruthless, though.
I mean, you also hear stories that he's probably the one that was involved with Jam Master Jay getting killed. Or
No, I think they found the people that did that, or what allegedly, or whatever like that. People have been already like convicted, or they fighting their case for that. I think. Like I don't.
But you heard the rumors that it was connected to your dad. Like I know.
I mean, I feel like I feel like they want to put everything bad that happens in Queens and connect it to him in a way. And I don't know why I think that's an agenda that they're just trying to push. Like if something happened to an older guy in Queens, like, oh yeah, he might have did it, or his cousin might have did it, or his nephew might have did it. Like that's just what they want to promote, just because who else can we say did it?
The rumor was because Jam Master Jay is the one that actually discovered 50 Cent, and he played a part in 50 Cent career actually being.
But when 50 was with Jam Master Jay, I don't even think he was lit. Like nobody knew
Before that, yeah. It was like the first person who helped him in his career, right?
Yeah, but but like I know people that helped me 10 years ago. It didn't really. I'm more lit now than I was when they tried to. You feel me? Like just because Jam Master Jay helped him with a record deal that didn't even amount to anything, you think that this guy is gonna. That's people think life is a fucking movie. Like that's a movie script that we're reading right now. It's not like that's not even realistic.
But it is crazy to think that if you became Lil Baby, you know, then everybody who helped you throughout your career that has stories about you early on in your career before you became this crazy superstar are going to be doing fucking interviews on platforms telling regular ass stories about, yeah, one time I seen him and he was falling down drunk outside the club looking like a bozo.
Exactly.
And that if you're Lil Baby and somebody's got a story about you from back in the day like that, it's huge. You know, that's like you're getting an interview off telling that story, which is kind of crazy. Yeah.
I mean, and everybody wants to be famous. Fame is like the most severe drug. So if I got a story about Adam or I got a story about you, and I don't think nobody heard it, I can even if the story is 4% true and the other 96% is just me adding shit into it, I'm gonna say that story online and go viral. Everybody wants a viral moment. Everybody wants fame. Everybody wants clout, and like that's just what it is right now. You get what I'm saying?
I never even thought about this before, and I don't want to give anybody any ideas, but that is true, is that there are people that whoop my ass 10, 15, 20 years ago, and if they were to do a fucking interview with some shitty-ass platform and tell that story, they might get 100,000 views from just talking about beating me up when I was 19.
And you know what they're going to do after that? They're going to start a YouTube channel. And then they monetize and whooping your ass.
Damn.
So you just gave probably 7 people an idea just now.
I hope they don't see this episode, yeah.
So you never been like a fighter.
I would have fun with it. No, I grew up fighting all the fucking time. I just can objectively kind of look at myself now and be like, yeah, you ain't exactly fucking Brock Lesnar out here, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Type shit.
More of John Jones.
What's your beef with 50 Cent's son, Marquise?
Yo, you know what's so funny? I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to get away from Marquise or 50. Like the questions,
what's Marquise up to these days? I never see him. I haven't thought about that name in years.
I feel like I keep him relevant in a way. Not even trying to be funny, but I feel like I keep him relevant.
All right, well,
nobody was talking about him. But
Everybody needs an op.
that's not really my op though. I just feel
Right.
like, we was young kids. We took a picture. We took the picture. It was blown out of proportion. I was trolling because I seen how viral. I just said everybody want a viral moment. It was going viral on somebody else's page. I'm like, no, I want some of that traction on my page. I reposted it, and it just took a life of its own. And then everybody automatically just made us into oppositions, or I probably played a small part in that too, but I feel like it took a life on its own. But that was the first and last time I've ever seen him in my life. Like, I'm not cool with him. I don't know him. We had got an opportunity presented to us to fight, do a celebrity boxing match, and I DM'd him.
And that's what the DMs was about.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, like, come on, he talking about I'm fanned out, bro. Nobody knows you. Who are you? Yeah, you 50 Cent. Okay, what else? I'm Preem Son. I'm not gonna be. I didn't even know you, guy. You're not on the internet. How would I know you? So he tried to say, oh, you was fanned out. You want to take a picture. You was DMing me your number, bro. I don't want to be cool with you. I don't like men. You feel me? But he tried to spin it. So I'm like, okay, you tried to spin it. Based off what? Like, what were you trying to do? Like, you was trying to get clout. You were trying to go viral. Because why would you spin it as if that happened? And you know that's not how it happened. Because how the fuck would I know who you are? At 19 years old, 18. I don't know who you are, bro. We was in a club. We was drunk. Yo, a guy said, yo, take this picture, y'all two. He knew who both of us was.
Wait, so when you took the picture, you're saying you didn't even know that was 50 Cent's son?
I did not know who that was. It was another guy I was with. I'm clapped. You feel me? We having a good time. We drunk. He like, yo, come take this picture. We took the picture, and then that was that. Neither one of us knew who each other was, bro. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's hard to believe, not gonna lie. Like, damn, there's no way. So y'all living in the same area, y'all got the...
Well, he's from Long Island. I'm from Queens. I don't be in Long Island. You feel me?
Both y'all, you know what I'm saying? There's a huge famous movie about 50 Cent and his dad.
Marquise wasn't in the movie, though.
But just the lore around it just would be hard to believe. Like, damn, both of y'all didn't know anything about each other at all?
Nah, we didn't, bro. We didn't.
I seen
we still don't know nothing about each other.
I seen you got a lot of backlash for taking the pictures, though. Like, what was the backlash?
The backlash was because I was trolling. And people felt like I was trying to separate a father and a son. And I'm like, yo, I have nothing to do with separation. Like, they would have been separated. It's the mother. It's Marquis' mother. It has nothing to do with me. I couldn't fuck up the relationship or help repair it. You get what I'm saying? But now in hindsight, like 50 and Marquis' relationship, like I understand it a little bit more.
I'm looking at Marquise's Instagram right now, and yeah, he's like talking about how he doesn't have his dad's phone number and like can't talk to him.
Yeah, so like you crying out for help.
That's pretty crazy.
And
he's a Twitch streamer too.
But did you know that before you Googled it?
No, I just saw that now. Yeah,
like,
I haven't thought about him besides like knowing his name like 20 years ago type shit.
And then after that, when was the last time you seen him?
I mean, I haven't
he
thought
went
about
viral
him
recently because of complaining about his dad not giving him.
And then the
money.
time before that was the picture with me and him.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, why wouldn't you want to do a celebrity boxing match with me for $50K for 3 rounds, 20 minutes, $50K? Why not?
There's another boxing match that was supposed to happen too with Drew and Paparazzi Poe, which is also
who's that?
You know, Paparazzi Poe, Apple's son. Like you got the Supreme son, 50 Cent son, Apple's son.
What if I told you that wasn't Apple's son? What if I told you that?
I've heard that before, but what do you know?
That's not his son. Apple went online and said, "This is not my son. I don't even know who his mom is."
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, everybody wants a viral moment. Everybody wants to be famous. Fame is a hell of a drug.
I might have to eat some loops and do my homework on that one.
Yeah. That's not his son.
Well, we got to dig deeper.
I've asked him about that personally because after we did an interview on No Jumper, he sent me pictures of him with Apple, I believe, at a young age, just to clarify that.
You seen those pictures?
I think I do.
You think?
I think I have it in my DMs.
I want you to show me.
I'll show you after. But he sent me pictures to show that that's his father for real. I asked him about it. He said that's his father.
So why you said I think?
Cause I gotta confirm that's him in the pictures, but I asked him. I said,
let me ask you a question.
Since you did the interview, I've gotten a lot of DMs of people saying that you're not really Apple's son.
So let me ask you a question. If he's brown skin, right? How can that? If there's a million kids that was brown skin, how do we know that was him? You get what I'm saying? Come on, bro, stop it, bro.
You think he's clout chasing?
Do I think? I mean, who can confirm or deny it?
I mean, it'd be a wild thing to make up, but I haven't.
Haven't you seen people do some wild shit? You've been in the industry a long time. I'm sure you've seen some wild off the wall shit before.
That is true.
So I mean,
Then I think about Paparazzi Poe just dropping, slamming the rakes. He was putting on a whole show on here, man. He's a very animated guy.
But yeah. But we were supposed to do a boxing match too, yeah.
Where y'all relationship formed at? Where you know him from?
You know what's so crazy?
You're the one who cut him?
Hell no. Hell no.
Where you know him from?
How do I know him? I know him like he's one of those people that like he just be everywhere because he doesn't have a house. So he'll be in like 7 different areas, and then I might know somebody that knows somebody that knows him, and then we hear it's social media era like. But I met him, one of my people that I used to affiliate with, or not affiliate, I don't want to sound like no gang shit. One of the people I used to be cool with was cool with him. And like I never really met him in person. Like we'll be on the phone, we'll talk, we'll text maybe once or twice in our life, but I seen what type of person he was early, so I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be around this guy. Like he has like a black cloud over him for some reason. So I'm like, yeah, I'll pass. But he posted a picture, like a split screen picture with me, 50, my dad, and Marquise, and 16 shot him. Seen that picture, and that's how I got cool with 16 shot him. Me and 16 shot him, then did mad pause. He interviewed me. I say content together. That sounds crazy.
No, it's all right.
He interviewed me like 3 times, and me and him, like, you feel me? Like if you go on 16 shot on page, he got the Supreme shirt on that I made because he did On the Radar. I told him to come with me On the Radar, and he came, and I put him on, like, me and him cool, like, you feel me? And me and him did a couple interviews, but that was because Poe posted me on his page. So he kind of helped me in a way, I guess.
Right.
Indirectly, I'm pretty sure he probably didn't want to help me.
Any
but
clout is good clout.
He was trolling. He posted the picture, and then, you feel me? Took a life of his own, like a lot of this shit do.
I seen somewhere where you said that your dad is bigger than Big Meech.
Yeah.
Yeah, that started a lot of controversy.
Yeah, it did.
People were on you about that.
But you know why people was on me? Because BMF is being pushed. They're being force fed down their throats right now. So people's never gonna do homework. They're only gonna go with the obvious answer. But sometimes the obvious answer ain't always the answer. You feel me? So if he has a TV show, mad documentaries, Little Meech is lit. You feel me? Like he's more recent. He's like in the early 2000s. You feel me? So my dad was in the 80s and the 90s. So of course people are gonna be arguing me about a whole bunch of they don't even know. And when I say more legendary, to reiterate, I'm not knocking Meech. I don't have nothing against Meech. I like Meech. I like Little Meech. I like Terry. I love the movement, everything. Like it's none of, I'm not trying to create no fake ops, number one. But I just feel like they changed laws. They changed the law because of my dad. People wanted to dress like him. People wanted to, like, you get what I'm saying? Meech probably took a page out of his book, and then, you feel me, he came before. So it's not necessarily me knocking Meech. You get what I'm saying? Nobody wanted to wear no full X white tees, bro. You feel me? Like people wanted
at that time they did.
People wanted to dress like my father and his crew. You feel me?
Okay.
So when you say legendary, it's just like you was innovative. You was doing stuff before everybody else was doing it. People that's more relevant now, they took a page out of your book. So how can they be more legendary than you?
Well,
feel me?
It's weird because this isn't stuff where people were keeping track of how many kilos were sold. Because that is how you would break down, like, who put in the most work, or this guy was running this area for 10 years and this guy was only doing it for 8 years and this guy sold 50,000 kilos. You know, all this shit that nobody knows.
And does legendary status equate to money? Because I don't think it does.
And how many people were familiar with what was going on with Atlanta and New York at the same time? Because that's really, if you were around during both eras and were kind of in both cities, that's really like the only people that would be able to have like a super valid opinion on it, I think, for the most part.
Which is nobody on the internet.
Which is damn near nobody. Yeah.
Which is nobody on it. So I'm saying, like, it got almost 30,000 comments, all in the blogs combined. It got about 30K comments.
Yeah, it was going
But
crazy.
me, the reason I know that is because I like looking in the comments and seeing people talk shit about me. Like, I love that.
Y'all leave a comment.
Yeah, not really fuels me. I just like it.
Y'all leave a comment on this interview, and actually y'all let us know who y'all think was more legendary, Preem or Meech.
You see how you just had to think about who other than Preem? That goes. I
didn't want to say Lil Meech because that was the next question I was about to ask you. What's your relationship with Lil Meech?
There's no relationship with him.
Never met him?
But you feel me? He a cool dude. I don't got nothing against him. He cool.
Do you watch any 50 Cent TV shows?
Never.
None of them?
Never.
Power, BMF?
Never. I mean, there's other shows to watch. I watch Shark Tank. I'm a Shark Tank guy.
Love Shark Tank.
Sports, big sports guy. I don't really get into like the.
I've been meaning to watch the BMF shit. I actually, as soon as I realized that Vlad saw it as soon as it came out and then interviewed everybody who's alive that was associated with it, I was like, wow, that's ingenious. Why the fuck did
He's very smart. Vlad is smart.
Yeah.
Vlad is definitely smart.
It's definitely smart, but somebody could definitely do the same thing with the IP based on your dad, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what Irv Gotti said. Well, then
He's
Irv
doing a
Gotti's-
movie. He's not doing a series.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to start the series right now. Like the Supreme Team series, actually. Stay tuned.
What if 50 Cent hit you up and said he wanted to do the series? Since he got all the BMF going, he got power going, would you be open with 50
You know
Cent?
he bought a garden in Baisley, right? Like it's a garden across the street from the projects where my dad lived at, and he bought that garden there.
Why do you think he bought it?
Because he's petty as fuck.
Yeah. But I mean, it might have not been a petty move. He might have just wanted to be like, I don't know, man. Because anything I say about him, people always going to think I'm talking negative about him. And that's not what I be trying to do. Me telling the truth doesn't mean I'm being negative. It just means I'm fucking telling the truth. I don't know why people hate the truth so much.
Right.
You can't ask me a question and then I have to lie to you about what you asked me. Then I'm going to have to remember that lie. Then remember, like, it's the whole correlation of lies. So me telling the truth is not me hating on nobody. It's not me being nobody's op. It's not me doing none of that. It's just me just telling the truth, bro.
So would you do it? So if 50 Cent had a bag for you right now, you see he's been successful with a lot of these TV shows. If he wanted to produce the TV show about the Supreme Team, would that be something you'd be?
I mean, my first initial thought would be, yeah, I'm going to do it. But I would have to talk to the big homie first. Yeah. If the big homie don't green light it, then
You think your dad would even be down for anything like that?
I think he would need a lot of talking to.
I feel like he would say fuck no.
I think he would need a lot of. I mean, but he doesn't have a problem with 50. That's another narrative that's out. My dad doesn't have a problem with him either.
Really?
My dad's 60, bro.
But he doesn't hold it against him that he's still talking about him after all these years?
I don't think my dad really care about what's going on the internet. You get what I'm saying? Unless it with me.
I mean, when you've been locked up for that long, at a certain point,
does it really matter?
Kinda silly.
Does what's going on the internet matter, or do you trying to come home out of jail matter? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's all about priorities. I feel like at 60 years old.
Does it seem like there's a chance that he could come home? He got life, but
I mean, like I said earlier, like we've seen some crazy shit happen.
Right.
Like, you got to be optimistic. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I feel like he has a documentary coming out called The Mundane Truth.
Really?
And it's about his trial. So it's like a lot of reenactments. They have they interview people. Like, it's like a docuseries almost in a sense. So I feel like all of the stuff that's happening now, like they changing the laws, you know, there's more information out there about what happened. Like all of this stuff, like I feel like the stars are aligning to potentially that maybe one day happening.
You think
I'm optimistic. So
if Kim Kardashian took interest in him, you think he might be home next year?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Star power. If you got star power, people advocating for you, of course. Why not?
Yeah.
Like Jay-Z, Meek Mill, Kim Kardashian. Like I see the thing they're doing with Larry Hoover. Like you see how Kanye, Jay Prince, and all these people are advocating for Larry Hoover. That something can come out of that, and I feel like people should be doing the same thing for my cousin Prince and for my father.
Right.
Like why not? Because these guys, at the end of the day, no matter what the media says about them, they were good guys. Like they helped a lot of families. I mean, contrary to belief, they did help a lot of kids. They helped a lot of families. They did positive shit too. So it's not just about everybody does good, everybody does bad. Why are these people the only ones that's had to suffer or face the maximum punishment for people change?
What's your relationship with Prince? I thought he was your uncle. Or...
No, that's my dad's nephew. So that's my first cousin.
All right.
Yeah.
Because he had a reputation of being a shooter. He was the hands-on guy from what they say. You know
and
what I'm
I
saying?
also feel like that was another narrative because they said he had bulletproof hats and bulletproof BMWs and bulletproof cell phones. Like
Hats?
yeah, people just make people really want to live a movie, bro. They
Bulletproof fitted would weigh like 40 pounds. I'm
in
guessing.
the 80s.
In the
In the
80s,
80s,
right?
like you see the outrageous shit that these people be saying. Like, come on, bro. Like we don't even know if he was I don't even think he was a shooter, bro. I think that's just what the narrative was because he beat all his murders. So I mean, how could he be a shooter if he beat the murders? Like, if you're not convicted, you ain't that, right?
Vaughn beat all his murders. Well, the ones they charged him with. Okay.
But Prince is, but back to your question, that's like, me and him is like this.
Y'all still have a relationship.
That's
to
my
this day?
guy. That's my guy.
Tony Yayo's career has been kind of like resurrected. He's talking on Vlad all the time. Some of the clips have definitely touched on 50's past and stuff about your dad and stuff like that. Do you respect the narratives that he puts out there, or is there anything that you think is a little weird?
What was one of the things that comes off the top of your head that you remember him saying about it?
I honestly can't even remember. I didn't write this question down. I just thought of it. Right now.
Well, I seen him I seen him. I'll help you out a little bit.
Yeah.
I seen him on Hoffa, and he was like, when you looked in Preem eyes, you see a whole bunch of souls in his eyes.
Oh.
Another person with some movie shit. That's like some movie shit, bro. Like they trying to make this guy seem like he's the fucking dragon or something. Bro, he was a black dude with green eyes, bro. I mean, that might have been like not seen before, but like, why would you go on Math Hoffa and say you seen souls in his eyes? So you basically implying that he was killing people.
That feels like snitching even after all these years?
I mean, if it's not helping him, it's hurting him. You feel me? Why he just couldn't say, yo, salute the Preem, you know, it is what it is, da 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 da. You had to go be animated and do that. But I like Tony Yayo.
If you're 50 or Yayo, it's like you kind of have to hype up your enemies because otherwise, what were you fighting against?
Exactly.
Like you have to talk about your enemies like they were some crazy ass killers, you know?
That's true. I never looked at it like that. They got to kind of, because it makes them seem bigger.
Like that's why 50 will still mention your pops after all these years is because otherwise he's just kind of a regular rapper, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like
that's why I said if it wasn't for him, it would 50 career might have not catapulted how it did. Like it was like the whole David versus Goliath thing. Like,
and it's like 6ix9ine would have had a bunch of big fucking songs regardless, but if he didn't join the Nitrate Bloods, then people wouldn't have been as intrigued.
Exactly.
You know, you would have just been a SoundCloud rapper.
I feel like the world is intrigued and fascinated by street culture and like gang activity and like people just are so fascinated by that shit.
Yeah, 50 Cent said it best. He said America got a thing for this gangster shit.
Yeah, that's a real statement.
Yeah.
You probably got Junior tattooed on you somewhere.
I don't, but if I had been getting tattoos at that period in my life, I might have.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been kind of cringy.
Oh, what about Baisley Projects now? Is it gentrified or is it still?
Hell no. I mean, you got a couple Spanish people in there now, but I don't think it's gentrified. Hell no. Hell no.
It's too far out. It just hasn't got hit yet. Probably.
I think Brooklyn was first. I think they was trying to get gentrify Brooklyn first, and then I feel like Queens would probably be next, and then I think the Bronx would probably be last, maybe.
I really need to go to Brownsville because when I lived in Bushwick, everybody would like Brownsville was the bad place that you could go if you wanted to.
Still is.
People just knew. Yeah, but then I hear people telling me it's getting a little gentrified, so I really want to go see what the fuck it looks like.
Yeah, but you know the thing about gentrification in New York is
slow.
This week, this block will be gentrified, and then you turn the corner and it's back to reality. So I mean, if I were you, I probably would have my security with me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's or I'm gonna be in an Uber just.
But matter of fact, you might be good because people know you. So
yeah, that's the problem.
If you can go back to when you first started podcasting or when you started doing your show, would you have like done it where like Vlad was behind the camera and like you not be on camera but you interviewing the people? Like
nah. If
you wanted to be famous.
Yeah, for sure. I always saw the value in that. And I think Vlad in a lot of ways was a genius for realizing that because it's easier for him to have people take over for him. Like he has all kinds of different people doing interviews for him. And as long as you're like solid at asking the questions, you can kind of pull it off. Whereas like for me to have people who are actually popular co-hosts on here, it is fucking hard. Like they have to really like you in order to watch you interview somebody on No Jumper. Whereas Vlad kind of gets whoever. So he has a lot of people doing interviews.
He just get journalists to do it, really.
Well, he gets, people from hip hop and everything like that. But if it's just a voice, it's a lot easier for people to listen to like just a voice asking someone questions.
But I also see that when they know that it's Vlad talking, the interviews do better numbers.
True, yeah.
So let me ask you this. So when you, based on who you hire and who you have on the show, like, what if everybody hates that person? Is that a good thing too? If
their days are probably numbered. Like
really?
If everybody hates them.
But I feel like if people tune into you because they hate you, that's still views and that's still money.
Oh well, if they watch you, then yeah, I mean that could be a thing. I
feel like that's me. Like I said before, like I feel like people hate watch me, but at the end of the day, I'm still producing the numbers. I'm still producing the engagements because like Floyd Mayweather, they hated him, but they still bought his fights.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like hate could be a good thing.
But the thing is that I could interview somebody who's hated and have it really do numbers because people are kind of fascinated by this person they hate. But if you're going to be a host on here long-term, interviewing people / talking to different homies every week, at a certain point, they're going to, like the hate thing, unless you're like super entertaining as the villain, at a certain point, they're going to have to like you.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever had a host on here that people just hated, and that's why they were popular. Maybe Flakko kind of comes to mind. They're like,
about to say,
he's like love-hate relationship. But people do love him as well,
I like Flakko. When I came in here just now, like, Flakko...
he said you like 50 Cent. He said, he asked you, are you 50 Cent's son, right?
Yeah. No, he asked me, was I his brother? He asked me, was 50 my dad's son?
Is that a question that you get a lot?
Bro, I think people think that I'm such a troll. Like when they see me, they want to troll me before I can troll them. So they'll just ask me that. But you know, I want him to unblock me. I want 50 to unblock me because
So
he
50
had me,
got you blocked on Instagram.
Yeah, he's
Why?
had me blocked for like 4 years.
Did you hit him up or like what caused it?
Because I asked him to let's do a DNA test, and he blocked me after that.
Have you ever ran into 50 anywhere?
I seen him before I took the picture with Marquise. I used to chill with Prodigy a lot. Yeah, it's crazy. And
RP to Prodigy.
Well, yeah, where did that come from? That connection?
bro, I'm connected with a lot of things, bro. Like the guy who owned the club Griffin in the city, his brother was in jail with my uncle. So when my uncle came home, yo, come to the club, and then I got cool with the owner, and then the owner and Prodigy was best friends. So we was all at the guy who owned Griffin house one night, and Prodigy was in there, and then my uncle said, yo, that's Preem's son right there. So Prodigy called me outside. He was like, yo, you know, it's all love. Like, I know I might have said some stuff in the past, but like, you know, I don't got nothing against your pops. Your pops was a legend. You know, anything you need from me is all love, et cetera, et cetera. And then me and Prodigy just started hanging out with each other. Like, and he was real respectful. So Mobb Deep was having like an album listening party or some shit like that in the city, and 50 was there. And I was hitting Prodigy up like, yo, I'm trying to get in. Like, how can I get in? And he was kind of spinning me. So I'm like, yo, why this nigga spinning me? I thought we was cool. And then come to find out he was spinning me because 50 was going to be there.
Yeah.
But 50 didn't know me. But when he walked out, I was walking in. And Prodigy was spinning me, but I was like, I'm one of those people, I'm still going to go and see if I can get in. I'm not going to not go. Like, I'm just going to take a chance. So I went up there, and I wound up still getting in. But as I'm walking in, me and my uncle and like a couple other dudes, 50s and his security's walking out. And like, he looked at me, and then he just kept going, and then he turned back around. Like, I felt like he kind of seen my dad, or he seen me in a way, or like a gut feeling. Like, he seen me in the way he looked, cause I'm on point, cause I'm like, damn, I hope this nigga, you know.
Cause 50 the person, if you run into him and you got problems, it could.
You get what I'm saying? But so he looked at me, and he kept walking, and he turned, and then we turned back at the same time, and it was like a weird moment. And I don't know, like years later, he was like, yo, that was that motherfucker, yo, like, cause he probably was like, yo, this nigga looked like Preem.
It's hard when you get to the point where you know like 500,000 people, because you'll see somebody in a club or in an event and your brain just takes a little bit longer than the average person to do the calculation and be like, wait a minute,
and
that's him.
And then it'll hit you when you get in the car.
That's happened to me many times.
It'll hit you when you get in the car. Hell
And
yeah.
then I'll be like, fuck, I should have done so. I should have screamed at that person. I should have said something.
Should have spit on them.
Anything.
What you think would happen if you and 50 Cent run into each other knowingly?
A conversation. Cause I don't have a problem with him. I will want to have a sit down with him where it's just me and him. There's nobody around. There's none of his goons around. None of my goons around. It's just me and him, and just drive around, and me and him could just talk. Like, I want to know a lot of things. I'm sure he will be open to communicating with me about, but I really want to pick his brain. Like, I want to have like a real conversation with him. You get what I'm saying?
What would be one question or a main question that you have for him? He might see this. So like, what's something that you wanted to ask him that you always wanted to, like, damn, 50, what's up with this?
What would be one question I would want to ask him? Does he love Preem? Like, do you love Preem? Do you got love for him? That would be definitely one of the things. Because I think he does. Like, I don't think he hate Preem. I think he got love for Preem. But me saying that, what would be the reason you have love for this person? Was it because of this? Was it because of that? Was like, what it, like, I would love, like, that's on my bucket list, actually. Like, for me and him to like have a real conversation. Like, and it's just me and him. Like, I don't want no cameras around. I just want to talk to him and see what happens.
I feel like 50 is someone where if like he is like, I heard you mention the 48 Laws of Power in another interview. I feel like 50 has probably read that book more than like anybody else in the rap game. Because
he probably read that shit a million times.
When I look at somebody like the way he handled his situation with Buck, when it says in the 48 Laws of Power, like when you destroy completely.
That's a fact.
I mean, he has not let up on Buck for the past 20 fucking years, and he probably never will. And I feel like that's the same 50 Cent who, because he hates your dad, might never want to have anything, never have a conversation with you. Like he was just eternally hate the whole bloodline.
You don't think he would?
Maybe he would, but I would not be surprised if he wouldn't, because I also feel like he's just.
But hate and love is the same thing.
Hated or love it, the underdog's on top.
And
And
just
I'm
to
going
throw
to
it out
shine
there,
homie until my heart stop.
50 Cent did actually write the 50 Laws of Power, like Robert Greene and
yeah,
him
he did,
collab.
he did.
I think he put me in one of his
added
books.
2 more laws.
He put me in one of his books.
Really?
Yeah. And he was talking about Marquise, and he was like, yeah, Kyle McGriff or some shit like that. I think he put me in one of his books. But me personally, I think that, you know, sometimes people get caught up in, like, when you are an actor and you do a role and you become that role, then you almost forget that you acting, or you almost forget that you're just playing a role for the time being. So I think that he had to, like, kind of like stay in war mode, and he kind of lost himself a little bit, because I really don't think he hate my father. I don't think so.
I feel like 50 is still connected to the part of himself that basically didn't get any support from the neighborhood.
He got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, and I don't think he's eager to let that go. I feel like to him that's like, nah, that's who I am. I hate those motherfuckers.
If you was a person that had gained and obtained so much success in your life, would you still be talking about your old foes? Or
I still am, yeah. In fact, I am.
oh wow, oh my god,
I've made it further than I ever thought I would in my whole life. But a couple of months ago, there was a dude who I had a fist fight with in 2008, and it was like some shit where he was in the wrong. But he came up to me in a public place and decided he wanted to fight me.
Really?
And this motherfucker died. He killed himself a couple months ago. And I didn't really say too much about it, but I would describe the way I felt as like somewhat overjoyed when I heard about it.
from somebody dying.
Fuck him. Yes, he's a piece of shit.
But if
And he deserved more death. So I
you
mean,
want him to resurrect and die
so
again?
I understand. You know, like I feel how you can just hate someone forever, because there's a lot of people.
But
But if they
but-
die, I'm secretly going to be laughing.
At the
and
funeral?
it sucks though, because it's like I told my girl, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy this dude died. And she's like, you're a sick fuck.
Yo, but don't you think it take more energy in you to hate somebody?
Man, it was like a couple minutes worth of, and it's not like bad energy. It's like happiness. Like I'm only experiencing like good feelings when homie kicked the bucket.
You like death? Like, are you scared of death?
I'm not really worried about it. I feel bad for my kid. Personally, I'm not too committed to being here forever.
Yeah.
I'm 40, so it's gone. I'm done.
What's your thoughts on like the New York drill scene? What's going on right now in New York?
I feel like it's that's tricky, man, because I feel like it's trendy. I feel like every couple of years in rap is always a trend that happens, and then it'll be trendy, and then it'll like leave. So I feel like get your money while you can get it now, but like it's just crazy because the stuff that they putting in the songs is really what they doing, and I feel like you're not smarter than that. Like you actually putting the shit that you actually currently doing right now in the songs, and then like, you know, like I don't know, but I mean, like, get your money, man. Make your music, get your money, do whatever is gonna provide for you and your family, but just be smart about it. You get what I'm saying? Just be smart.
It's just crazy because the drug dealers that we grew up kind of looking up to, or the rappers that we grew up looking up to, were talking about hustling and talking about being drug kingpins, and it's like, and they weren't really talking about being killers.
I don't think they was talking about them doing it. They were just talking about the people that they looked up to that were doing it.
And a lot of them were lying or were talking
course.
about this other guy that they knew down the street or whatever. But it's just weird that now the famous rappers are the ones who either are the killers or are like right next to the killers.
It's crazy, right?
And there's no room for you to be joking or lying about that shit, because if they catch you doing anything that doesn't make you seem like a fucking super gangster, if they catch you walking down the street to the corner store, then everything that you ever said has been disproven. You a bitch now.
You like drill music?
I like it, but a lot of it is kind
Not
of a
drill
lot of
music.
the Bronx shit. I like the characters. I'm interested in them and everything, but the style of it is just a little too aggressive for me. It's a little too.
Yeah.
I like Chicago drill more on average.
I'm a Future guy. Future, that's
Future.
what I listen to. Future,
Really?
Young Thug. Feel me? Some old school R&B. Like I don't want to listen to no drill rap.
The deeper I get into the underground shit, the more I appreciate the Drakes and the Futures and the Thugs of the world that just kind of make like great music.
Yeah, like that's because drill music, like you're not gonna turn on a drill song in 15 years, 20 years from now and be like, yo, that shit knock. You ain't gonna play no drill song at your wedding. You ain't gonna play like, that's just for now. It's a trend.
I don't know.
It's a phase.
Drill been around for like 10 years now, and a lot of them songs still kind of.
I think it's phasing out. I feel like the Kendricks and the who's the Y, what's his name, Y and J.
Which one?
Corday,
Yeah.
the J.
Right.
Cole's. Like I feel like that's coming back into music, to rap right now, or it's trying to.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like Another year, drill will probably be gone. I feel like.
I think the complete opposite. I think every city is literally creating their own drill scene right now.
But when everybody start doing it, ain't you gonna get tired of hearing it? Like how you just said earlier, everybody was tired of Ja Rule being up here. So if all the people that's up here is doing drill, you're gonna get tired of that shit. You're gonna want something new.
I think people are fucking infatuated with like truth, and then with drill being like the music that has the most truth in it. I think that's why it's so raw and it's just sticking.
It's like true crime plus music.
Facts.
Yeah. So I think that's why I don't think it's going away. I think each city is just gonna
Plus
have its
scared
own.
straight, a little bit scared straight in there too.
Most of those kids haven't been scared straight yet.
No, I'm saying like the age because they so young. They 14, 15-year-old talking about doing drills and shit like that.
But it is kind of wild when you think about it that there are very few drill scenes in America that really get like a crazy level of attention besides New York and Chicago.
So when you in New York, where you be at?
Shit, the hotel.
What borough? Like
I stayed in Williamsburg
Brooklyn.
a year
That's the good
ago
part of
on a
Brooklyn.
BMX trip.
Okay.
But I did have a giant fucking armed security guard
do you-
following me around the whole time.
Do you remember me? Did I reach out to you before to
Did
try
we?
to do work or something like that? I don't.
Did we?
I think so. I don't recall if it was.
I gotta check the DM history.
Yeah, you might have
Probably
to.
a lot of that going on. Question I did have though, did you ever run into Slow Bucks or Trav or any of them being in New York? 'Cause, you know, they came up underneath 50.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like you got to remember, like it's a small world, right? So, and my family is like I have a big ass family. So Trav was like best friends with my cousin, like my blood cousin, and like my uncle and all that. And like I see Slow everywhere. He's everywhere. So I mean, yeah, they know me. I know them. Yeah.
How do you think about 50 Cent and Slow Bucks falling out? Remember the famous chain situation when Slow Bucks hopped on stage? I think it was at Summer Jam. And then 50 Cent is, well, not 50 Cent, but
Yeah.
Slow Bucks got jumped and the chain got took on stage while 50 was performing. How you feel about that?
I feel like if you a chess player, you're gonna play chess. And I feel like him going on the stage wasn't a chess move. You get what I'm saying? Like that's just what it boils down to. Like you tried somebody and it got dealt with. Like you feel me? But I feel like Slow is a person that is able to navigate through the industry and he knows how to stay relevant and he's a creative person.
Do you think that because honestly, I feel like that actually hurt the clothing brand. Like at one point, the clothing brand was kind of doing this shit, but ever since
Yeah.
then, I think it kind of.
But he's selling $500 hats now too. You get what I'm saying? So how much did it really hurt the clothing brand?
Yeah.
Like it might have hurt it for a time or a particular moment in time, but like if you're able to go through the storm and then still be standing once the storm is over,
Yeah.
that just shows or gives a testament to who you are. But yeah, I feel like if I got any issue with anybody, I had words with anybody, like I'm not, if I see you, we got to get down, like we got to get to it. Like I'm not going to go on your stage while you're performing, like that was in chess. You feel me? Like if you beefing with Joe Blow and then you see Joe Blow performing, are you going to go on his stage while he's performing if you know something just happened with you guys on the internet?
Probably not, no.
It's not smart. That was, like, I don't know what drug a person has to be on to do something like that. But
I mean, to be fair, they did grow up together, so it wasn't like a total
so
beef.
if you grew up with somebody, you know their temperament and you
Yeah.
know that what they're capable of, what they're not capable of. So I'm sure he's seen this guy act in that manner with other people. So you already know what he's capable of. So why would even
Put yourself in that
you get what
situation.
I'm saying? If you make your bed, you gotta lay in it. That's just what it is. That's life. I made my bed with certain shit that I did. I gotta deal with it. I gotta lay in it. You get what I'm saying? So it's
So your
just
father said he hates you being on the internet, but you obviously don't have any plans on.
he didn't say he hated me being on the internet. He said he hated me trolling and arguing with people about stupid shit on the internet. Which is basically what I always do anyway. But
So what are you looking to achieve from being on the internet?
well, I just actually it'll probably take into effect in like another 3 weeks, but I just signed a deal with the NFT company, a Black Girl Baby NFT company, is like promoting like the black women of the world, like putting them on a pedestal, like they're understanding their story and their triumph and all that stuff. So I just did an NFT deal with Black Girl Babies that'll be dropping in April 2024.
You gotta be a true believer to still be doing NFT business at
And
this
I feel
point.
like now is the perfect time to doing it. Sometimes when nobody's doing something, that's when you should do it. Like when it's oversaturated, then you feel me, you can hit or miss.
Yeah.
But now that nobody's talking about it and it's like past, I feel like it can make like up to $20 million.
I know this guy who I've been to his house and he has just NFTs just hanging on the wall, and I know for a fact that they're all totally worthless now. And it's
But who's to say in 10,
I think about it all the
who's
time.
to say in 10 months that it might not be worth $1 million?
Yeah,
Feel me?
it could, but at a certain point when the founders of the NFT seem like they've given up on it, then it's kind of like, oh, okay, there's almost nothing they could
Well,
happen.
they said the same thing about rap music. They said rap music wasn't going to be anything, or that is dying down, and now is the #1 genre of music. So we can't predict the future.
That's true.
So just because something is seem like is on a decline right now,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, you feel me, in 2 years it might not come back. Like, yeah, that's with stocks, that's with what your investments, that's with crypto, that's with anything. Like, one day it might just plummet, and then people sell their shares or they'll get out of it, and then the shit will go. You get what I'm saying? Like, give or take.
Yeah, I feel that. So what plans you got for the future? Like,
So besides the NFT thing that I'm doing with the Black Girl Babies, I got the Rich in the Hood podcast that I'm doing. I started my podcast interviewing like the street figures of New York and like the most notorious people in New York. But I'm getting out of that realm where I just want to interview street figures. I want to interview like NBA players, because I have a relationship with all these people I'm interviewing. NBA players, football players, actors, rappers. Like, I want it to be an all-encompassing podcast, but I just feel like, you know, some of the street figure stories are so fascinating. Like, even though my dad is who he is, like, I'm still fascinated from other people's stories and what they've done in their life and their success stories, and then they fall from glory and then they back trying to do whatever they're trying to do now. So, but I want to get away from just focusing on just that. Like, I don't want to be marginalized and just put into a box. So I'm doing everybody. And I have a lot of relationships that you would be shocked that I have. And I'm just going to get everybody on the show.
where can they find your podcast at?
On YouTube. Type in Rich in the Hood, and it's simple as that. It's spelled, it sounds just how it's spelled. Rich in the Hood is in my bio. It's lit, bro. I'm doing the clothes. Fashion is my #1 thing. I love fashion. Like, that's what I really want to do. I want to direct porn. That's one of my other things I want to do.
You got to get with my boy Adam right here, man.
Yeah, I want to directing porn and fashion is the two worlds that I want to be. I don't even want to be like a podcast. Like, I do, but on my priority list is directing porn and then fashion world.
Music was never anything that you tried
Music
to
was
pursue?
probably fourth. Not me rapping, but me like own. I wanted to be like Birdman or like Slim. Like, I wanted to be like the owners, and then if I wanted to rap, I had somebody write my shit, and I'm so fly I can just spit the bars type of thing. Like a Diddy. That's what I wanted to be. But definitely directing porn. Definitely.
How would you direct the porn? What would you say?
I mean, I don't even feel like I gotta do, like, if I'm hiring people that's professionals, I don't feel like I could just, my camera angles is basically what the clip should be. Like, I don't really feel like I have to say, oh, do this for that long, because they already know what they're doing. I just want to be the guy that's filming it behind the camera.
The directors in porn that I've heard about that are really iconic or like known for what they do, I've heard about it, and they'll be like, okay, eat her pussy. Now jam your face in her pussy.
Yeah,
now lift her leg over her head or whatever. And
Yeah.
I've kind of always wanted to do that, but every time that I've ever been on set for Plug Talk stuff that I was basically like paying the filmer and having the talent or whatever, I've always like thought about it, but then like when I'm in the room, I feel like my presence makes the guy nervous.
Yeah.
And so I've had this experience a bunch of times where the dude couldn't get hard, so I kind of stopped hanging out while people were banging. Try to keep my distance and shit.
I would want to, me directing it, I would just want to do like BBW scenes with people. Like, I want to direct the BBW porn.
That's what you're into?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I am into.
Shout out to all my thick sisters out there.
You know,
yeah.
I type in, when I watch porn sometimes, I type in BBW Latinas and Pogs.
I still haven't gone full BBW.
Have you done BBW scenes?
Well, back in the day, I used to fuck fat chicks off Craigslist just for the hell of it, but no, not on camera. But when I was in Vegas for the AVN Awards, a few different chicks came up to me that were large, and they made it clear to me that they wanted to be my first BBW. So
And what happened?
I just haven't done it yet, but I would like to do it.
Yeah, like, I think BBW Latinas and Pogs is like my favorite two genres. Yeah.
So you don't like black women?
That's my third favorite genre.
Dear Lord.
That's my third favorite genre.
Shout out to my black queens out there.
Absolutely. A Black Girl Babies, man.
Yeah.
But that's not porn world, though. That's something positive.
Two different sets of
That's the
priorities.
NFT, right?
All right, so
Hell yeah.
P2, appreciate you. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
Great conversation.
Yo, Adam, you know I've been hitting you up for years. No, I'm fucking with you.
No, but I just looked at our DMs and you sent me a music video link in 2021, but that I never opened the DM and that was my first time looking at it. So.
Okay, got
But
you.
I just followed you, so
Got you.
If you don't follow me back, I'm gonna be hurt.
I'm not Hollywood. I'm down to earth, man.
Thank you. All right, shout out to my boy Remo for
Definitely, man.
co-hosting and setting us up.
Shout out China Mac for plugging me with Reem too, man. For
Oh yeah,
that's how
China
you guys
Mac
met?
did
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, now
Hell
I think
yeah,
about it,
that's
that
a
was
fact.
Another New York gangster,
I mean,
Asian Preem. You down?
the Asian Supreme Team. That's gonna be the new thing.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Hey,
That's branding
Shout out
right
my boy
there.
China Man. I forgot he did plug me with you.
that's
Yeah,
a fact,
for sure.
man.
Shout out
Shout out to
China
No
Mac.
Jumper, man. Shout out to the people that's doing what they doing out there, man. Stop
Hey.
trolling and stop clout chasing. I'm not a clout chaser. I am clout. There's a difference. Clout chase me.
Hey,
Signing out. Shout out Bel Air Rose too, man. Can't forget about Ross, man. Shout out Bel Air Rose, man.
that's what's up.
Rich in the Hood podcast. We here, baby. New York.
Appreciate
Queens
you,
get the
man.
money.
Supreme.
No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Asian Supreme, coming soon. NoJumper.com if you want to support. Bow.